that's a whole ocean away of teaching from my uncle Tatang's side to my grandfather's side. That's a whole ocean separating. That's literally, my grandfather was, I think, 3 or 4 years older than Tatang. But I will stress that it was like, wow, there's like almost no deviation. It's just the same moves. I don't know how to speak Filipino, but knowing for the fact is that those moves are the same moves as what was being taught for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's like that can only happen because the way we're taught is to be very simple yet direct and effective. Anyway, that's another tangent for another day. I do want to stress that there's so many styles and systems that I'm blessed to know a lot of my friends and their friends' families in Stockton, California. And the way that I see it as, they're open. I mean, you pick the person's brain and you there's a word in Filipino where basically you give what you take. You give respect, you take respect, and you give respect to people and you show them that, hey, I'm really interested in what you have to teach me. And 9 out of 10 times people will be willing to say, hey, this is how you do this move. You go at this angle, or this, don't do this. Let them come toward you. And that's another thing. My family's always thought you let them strike inwards so that you could attack them. You don't reach out to try to manipulate the sword or the knife. You want them to come into you so that you can get them. So it sounds a little backwards, but at the same time, you don't want to waste. It's called economy of motion. You want to save your energy so that you can pull them down and devastate them instead of having to waste a lot of energy. You want to have an abierto move, open move, so you can make it into a cerrado move. Cerrado means close. So you go from an open to a close. And you can trap, you can lock, you can disarm, take them down. And like I said, some systems and some styles of escrima, and we'll just use the word escrima right now, they will have a different word for the same move. And part of it has to do with the provinces. Some provinces in the northern regions, a lot of them are mountainous, and then some other styles. And if you do your research, you'll see why is one style is more of a harder style, and some styles are more of a flowing style. It's because depending on the terrain, were you dealing with mountains? Were you dealing with people on boats? They were training on boats. They were training in ocean, water type of environments, rice paddy fields. Another thing is like you have different dialects. You have different words for the same thing, which can be kind of confusing. But at the same time, you have to come with the understanding is some of these places were isolated, where that's the reason why there's a different language. And it may be all under the umbrella term Filipino, but you might have an Ilocano or a Bisaya or a Tagalog or a Pangasinan or a Zamboanga or a Igorot. And I had a friend that was actually an Igorot, and his whole situation was, oh yeah, man, that's my tribe, man, that's my tribe. But growing up, my grandparents, my aunt and her generation, you call someone an Igorot, they weren't referring to that tribe. They were calling them an ignorant fool. That was a term of that wasn't a good thing to call someone back in the 60s and the 50s. But I digress with that. But I would like to say is terminology is, and verbiage is very, very tricky when it comes to FMA and the Filipino languages, I would say. Even the word Filipino, it's kind of crazy because Filipino people are named after King Philip of Spain. And I'm like, he has nothing to do, well, in some ways they had something to do, but why are you subjugating the people other than when they have their own nations, they have their own tribal villages, their own provinces, their own islands. My family came from Cebu, Mantayan, Cebu, that island of Cebu. I have other family members that come from Bohol, another island. I have other family members from the Ilocos Norte region, the Ilocano region. Some were from different islands. And, it's a beautiful thing. I've been on a long tangent, but I would like to stress is if you get a chance to learn the Filipino language, just the words alone, like I said, 100 words for rice. That's an exaggeration maybe, but at the same time I've seen it. You got biko, that's a sweet rice. You got the old rice, bungos, and some use the word bungos for another. They use that for something else. And like I said, the adjectives and the verbiage and the way the words are said and where you put the accent matters. Because you could say the same word, but the accent, if you put the little emphasis on the wrong part of the word, it becomes a totally different word. And there is a beauty to that. You have to have an ear for it. And if you don't have the ear for it, you learn. And like I said, the beauty of this culture, it's not just about hitting people with sticks like a piñata. It's learning the nuances and just the little details. And like I said, God's in the details. So I've been going on for a long tangent, and I gotta cut it out now. But you guys have a good one now. All right, bye.